guys, it's Miss Gretchen. We're out and about at McConnell again. This week we're here visiting at the EOD, and Sergeant Moore is going to tell you about a little bit of what he does.
Thank you very much. So I'm Master Sergeant John Worozinski. I'm the number 2 at the flight here at EOD, and what EOD is explosive ordnance disposal, and that means pretty much anything in a military arsenal that has explosives in it, we deal with it. And basically we're the military's version of the bomb squad. Some of the things that we do, like EOD itself, we have 9 large mission sets. I kind of broke them down here. Number 1 being in the Air Force is the aircraft. So as pilots are flying around, we got all sorts of different fighter jets, refueling vehicles out there, and if anything were to happen to the aircraft, they do have explosives on them. So if the pilot pushes the button and the flares don't pop out, or all those little fireballs, or the missile doesn't fire, or even the ejection seats, if there's any type of malfunction, we can respond to that and help out the pilots in that way. We help with security and safety of the base and people. We are a force protection measure, so basically when it comes down to it, we help plan the security measures, and we kind of let the base know this is what would happen in case something bad were to happen. This is what we can help you with too. So we do a lot of planning with things like that. Combating large-scale threats, also known as weapons of mass destruction. Basically, if there is any type of threat out there that can cause damage to the city as opposed to just an individual, we'll be usually called on that too and respond to it, because we have a lot of training and a lot of tools that help us work in those type of situations. Nuclear weapon response. Basically a nuke is just like any other ordnance items to us. It's got a lot of explosives in it, and we can work on those things if necessary. Unexploded explosive ordnance operations. Actually, just this past weekend we had a call out to McPherson, Kansas, where we helped and the fire department out there take a old World War II era Japanese hand grenade, and we took it out from a house where unfortunately an old Korean War veteran passed away, and they found it in his belongings. We took it to a safe spot and we detonated it there to make sure the safety of the people in McPherson was still upheld. Operational range clearances. So as the pilots fly around, they have to train also and work with their jets and make sure that they know those systems really well and practice their targeting. And so we have a lot of different ranges here in the United States where they can practice those things. And what we'll do is we'll go out there, we'll clear the ranges of any explosive hazards. That way contractors can go and reset up the targets and do that in a safe manner. We help with local law enforcement of the police and fire department when they need us. Like I said, McPherson, Kansas, they just called us out to a grenade, but also too we work with the Wichita Bomb Squad. We kind of do some consulting back and forth where we talk about different things that can occur, and if the Wichita Bomb Squad were to need us for anything, if they run into a military munition item themselves, or they just want extra help on an IED call, they can call us and we'll help them out. Irregular warfare. So that's been a big thing over the last decade, where it's been Iraq and Afghanistan. And basically what we'll do there is we work against the IED or improvised explosive device threat, and we disarm those items, and we can actually gather a lot of evidence on there. And that's when we go into the forensics of it. We can collect tape, find fingerprints on there. We can collect a lot of other things for DNA, and even take samples of the explosives to send it into the chemists, where they can break it down and say, oh, this is the exact chemical compounds that you're working with. And based on certain explosive builders, they have a little signature. So one guy might make a certain type of explosives the way he likes it, and another guy will make it just slightly different, and we can actually help track the network of bad guys, and we can find them that way. And then last but not least, very important, Persons Protective Services. We call it VIP support. That's actually working with the Secret Service, and what we can do is we can act as initial search personnel for anywhere that the president would go or for a dignitary would come in. So if Mr. Trump were to come to McConnell Air Force Base, the Secret Service can ask us to go ahead and make sure that there's no explosive hazards in the area, and then they can set up security. And so we'll come through the area first, make sure it's safe, working with the explosive canine detection dogs, make sure there's no hazards in the area, and then the Secret Service can post security, and the president is safe from explosive hazards that way. These are all professionally made items. They range anywhere from the smallest small hand grenades, small landmines, all the way up to large aircraft dropped bombs. And so this is some of the things that we work with. This is some of the things that we train with. One of the coolest things that we have is we'll have cutaways of the items so our guys can look at it. And besides just explosives, there's actually a lot of science that goes into ordnance items, and so we like to kind of figure out how everything works. This here is called the shape charge, and by changing the shape of the explosives and putting this type of air cavity in there, you can actually have it cut through metal more than just explode. And so this is a lot of the training items that we work with. Again, we have everything ranging from large bombs all the way up to small hand grenades and landmines and everything in between. We have rocket propelled grenades or RPGs, just simple rockets themselves. And these are items from all countries around the world that EOD will train on, and we learn a lot of the basic safeties and how they work. Some of them are electronic, some of them are mechanical, and we figure out what it is how they operate so we can break it to the point where they are no longer a hazard to people around us.
So how long do you guys have to train to become EOD technicians?
Well, after basic training, we go to what's called the prelim course, which is a 28-day course out at Shepherd Air Force Base, and that's Air Force only. Our personnel will do 28 days there, and it's a very condensed version of EOD school. Once they graduate the prelim course, then we go to the actual EOD nav school, tech school out in Eglin Air Force Base in Florida, in Pensacola Panhandle area. And that is about 8 months if you can go straight through. And that's a joint service thing, so we have Air Force, Army, Marines, and the Navy all go through the same basic tech school, and our classes are mixed together. I had Army and Marines and even a couple Navy guys in my class when I went through back in 2003. But our training never really stops. It's kind of like doctors. Everything is constantly changing. Everybody's always coming up with new ways to create ordnance items, and so we're constantly evolving our training as well. Just a few years ago, we had guys that were not very well suited for electronics items, and then when the IED fight came out, it was basically electronics. And so now we have a lot of personnel that actually have bachelor's degrees or in electronic engineering degrees. So it's a constant educational process for us.
All right, we're going to go ahead and pause for a minute. We're going to go and see some more cool stuff that Sergeant Moore has for us to see. All right, guys, we're back. So you guys asked us what would happen if there's an explosion or if there's a bomb detected. So now they're going to show us what happens and what equipment they use, because obviously it's a very dangerous job. So we're going to see some of the equipment they use to protect themselves and protect others.
Hi everybody, I'm About McConnell here with the EOD flight, and I know what you're thinking, but no, this is not the Juggernaut suit. This is our EOD-9 bomb suit, and yes, it's very heavy, but it keeps us nice and protected from explosives as long as we're facing them with all this padding and Kevlar on it. So this is why we wear it, and it's a wonderful tool for what we do here.
Hi, I'm Irvin Hatfield with the EOD flight here, and this is our F6A robot. We use this as our workhorse for working around explosives. One of the best things we can do is be distant from any explosive device that we find, like an IED, so that we can use this and operate in a safe location. This arm kind of works similar to our arm on the robot, where it's got a shoulder, an elbow, and a wrist, which works in in any fashion that we see fit. I can do what I can do with my arm with this robot. If I want to open up a backpack, if I want to move something, or if I want to shoot it with our percussion actuated neutralizer, which is this tool right here. You can fire a shotgun shell or a blast of water at it to defeat it. It can lift about 45 pounds if I have the arm pulled in, or about 15 pounds if I extend it out. Or I can drag a person. If it was me and I was in my kit, then I could pull somebody away if they were unconscious in an area. It's got a lot of different ways for us to see remotely, where I can have the camera that's up top on here, or I could use that doesn't want to work. Or I can use the camera here on our arm to grab anything that I want, or use precision. I can actually take, this is super powerful, but I can actually grab an egg just super carefully, and then I can move that anywhere else that I want to. So we can be powerful, or we can be gentle. This is our control station that we have here. Bring this closer to you. So all these little switches and levers are labeled exactly how it is on the robot itself. So here's the shoulder, the elbow, the wrist. This is going to operate our tools like the percussion actuated neutralizer I mentioned. And this is going to be our video, so that we can actually use our lights and move our cameras, so that we can use this up to a mile away while it has its radio package right there in the back.
Hi, I'm About McConnell from the EOD flight here. First and foremost, please do not try this at home. Please, thank you. So when we find the explosives, we add our own explosives to it, and pretty much we can control what the explosives do.
So what this is here, this is called the shock tube, and it's something that we use to set off our own explosives. The cool thing about being EOD is we know how to apply the explosives and make it do just about exactly what we want it to do. And now I know during the quarantines and everything that's been going on, and we've seen a lot of the glow stick dance parties, and this is the EOD version of it. Aaron Brass, can you please get the lights? Fire in the hole, fire in the hole, fire in the hole.